Hello guys, it's me Lunar back with another patch note video for PUBG on Xbox One. Today is finally the release date of the PTS, and with it a bunch of new changes we are going over. We're going to look at what the specifics are because we did see what will be in this PTS during the community post. First, if the video is useful, smash the like button, it really is helpful. The PTS goes live today, so we will start with the launch times for this because the PTS is not available just yet. If you are in the US, the servers go live at 5 PM, and that's Pacific time, but that also means it's bad news for the UK and Europe because that's 1 AM release in the UK and 2 AM if you're in Europe. Now, as it always is, both maps will be available, and the only servers open to play are the North American servers. So expect some desync issues because of that on top of the current desync issues, which will not be fixed in this PTS. Alright guys, let's jump in and look at the changes. We start with gameplay changes, and bullet penetration will now be applied to forearms. When a bullet hits the forearm on the character, it will penetrate following its ballistic trajectory. The results will be different depending on whether the forearm is blocking a more vulnerable body part, such as your head. When a bullet penetrates a forearm and strikes a more vulnerable body part behind it, the greater damage will be applied. In other words, if a player's forearm takes a bullet while blocking their head, the full damage will be applied to your head as well. So this penetration system works for the head, torso and waist only, and won't apply to your legs. We did wonder in the last video if full damage to secondary hits was going to happen, and it will. If a bullet penetrates the forearm, but no vulnerable body part is behind it, then of course only the forearm will take the regular damage. Forearm penetration is disabled for shotguns, but it will work for all other weapons. So guys, that is limb penetration. It will be interesting to see just how much bullets you actually hit on players' limbs in the game, but we will find out when we get to play it later today. So that is the changes to limb penetration. The only other gameplay change is to motorbikes. When getting on a motorbike, if the driver's seat is empty, it's now much easier to enter the driver's seat and not accidentally get into the passenger side. So that has been fixed with this update. Next, we have user interface and user experience changes. Weapon attachment management when replacing items has been improved, something I'm very happy to see. Removed or replaced attachments will now drop onto the floor if there is no room in your inventory. That's probably the best news ever. It's very frustrating when your inventory is full and the situation happens that I want to replace a scope or a sight with a better one, but I have to drop something from my inventory first to make room for the old scope, unequip the old scope, apply the new one, then drop the old one and pick up whatever I dropped to make space for it. Now you don't have to do any of that, it just goes straight to the ground. And also when attaching directly from loot, the replace attachment will also drop straight to the floor if there's no room in your inventory as well. So that is some good news for inventory management. Also, when replacing an extended magazine with a quick draw magazine, the extra bullets, if you have an overflow of ammunition and you don't have space in your inventory, then that will drop directly to the ground as well. So some nice changes coming up for your inventory. Next, colorblind settings have been improved. The following colors now change according to the selected colorblind type: scope and reticle colors, blood, and supply crate smoke. So if you change your colorblind settings, then these three things will also change along with it. Along with this, to also help anyone who is colorblind, markers placed on maps are now numbered, so color is not the only way to distinguish between them. Eliminated teammates can now place markers on the map as well. That's going to come in useful for squads if you don't use a mic to help out your teammates. Kill feed now displays personal knockouts. And in squads, when the last surviving teammate accidentally disconnects, all teammates will receive rewards up until the point of disconnection. And if your teammate manages to reconnect and get further into the game and get a higher score, all teammates will receive updated rewards after that. Next up, dynamic weather has been added to Erangel and Miramar. Erangel now has an overcast weather, and Miramar has overcast and sunset. Overcast settings include rain and fog that will happen randomly throughout the game, and of course sunset isn't really much of a weather, but it still changes the way the game looks when you play it sometimes. Erangel has received some improvements. Small clusters of houses have been added to areas in Erangel, and more tactical landscapes have been added near the river. Plus, added trees in open areas surrounding the military base, so the island around the military base has had some improvements. You can see from the images there's more trees, the beaches have been improved, and more houses have been added. But it's not just the military base, there's different places around the map as well. Miramar has also received some improvements. More dirt roads have been added for better vehicle effectiveness, and certain high slope sections of road have been lowered to enhance vehicle effectiveness as well, because some of the vehicles do struggle to get up a couple of the hills in the game. Spectate mode, when spectating a player, their aiming movement is now more in sync with spectating view, because there were situations where it appears players are shooting far behind moving targets, when in fact on their screen, of course, they're just shooting directly at them, but that was in fact a bug. Next up, we have some performance changes. Smoke and flames from vehicles have been optimized to improve frame rate. Server performance has been improved by adjusting the replication rate, and previously replication for all visible characters in sight was refreshed every frame, but now replication rate differs according to distance from the player, and according to the devs, they think this will increase server performance by up to 15%, so that's quite significant. Network code has been adjusted to slightly increase server performance, optimize CPU performance by improving the graphic rendering function, optimized GPU resources to lower GPU burden and improve performance as well, optimized attachment related rendering resources to improve performance, optimized fog to increase performance, and previously 2 fog effects were used for the overall effect, but now that's just been merged together to make one, optimized grass assets to reduce memory resources used and improve performance, and finally optimized the physics calculation of moving boats and moving vehicles on the beach. So quite a lot of performance changes there. Hopefully it makes a good improvement to the game. We have one sound change, decrease the volume of vehicle sounds for players inside of first person mode while you're inside a vehicle. And that just leaves us guys with a whole bunch of bug fixes. So we will go through all of these. Settings will now be stored in online storage. Your settings will be saved even if there is a new patch. So I guess the whole thing with your settings constantly resetting every update was a bug. Fixed an issue where destroying doors with frag grenades or Molotovs did not display debris. Fixed issues where a frying pan and weapon could be held at the same time, where spectating in first person perspective showed inaccurate character locations, where leaning was possible while in an emote animation, where 2 players moving in a small space could sometimes get stuck, and I've seen a video of that, although it hasn't happened to me personally. Fixed an issue where a player could perform a jump motion if they spam the crouch button, and that has been fixed. Fixed an issue where reticle settings would be reset when the weapon was dropped and picked up again. Fixed issues where the spectating camera would look through a character when the game finished. Reduced the chance of players encountering situations where opponents' weapons would float in the air. Fixed issues where throwables could pass through character models, where voice chat user interface would always be displayed when using killer spectating function under certain conditions. Fixed an issue which prevented players from changing the red dot reticle when using an SMG. Fixed issues where the stun effect from stun grenades were weaker than before, and where camera angle rotates up to 180 degrees up and down in first person perspective and third person perspective modes when free falling. Fixed an issue where the character would stand up and lie down repeatedly when moving uphill when lying down. Fixed an issue where some weapons could be seen through when a character is moving right while in adds position and lying down. Fixed an issue where there was replay related text shown in the report pop-up window after dying. And finally, fixed an issue where sprinting would stop when moving a certain angle with the left stick. So guys, that's it for today's list of changes. The PTS opens later today, adding all of this stuff for us to test. There's quite a lot of it before it goes live in update number 18. How long the PTS will last, I'm not sure, but the previous PTS had 1 week between PTS and update number 17, but I guess it just depends on how many issues there are. So make sure to report all the problems that you do find. Guys, I want to hear from you in the comments. With this patch, we're getting changes that PC only received last week, so how far off do you think 1.0 really is? Especially as we know Sandhawk and War Mode is going to be coming within the next 4 weeks. This update here has a lot of performance improvements, so they are trying to get to around 30 frames per second. And then the only other thing that we need to get is custom games, and with dynamic weather coming, we pretty much have all the features that's in that, so we're just waiting for it to release. But essentially everything we wanted for 1.0 is starting to release or will be released soon. If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn notifications to see videos as soon as they release and to join our Battle Royale community right here. I'll be back tomorrow with another live stream Q&A update video, but until then, thanks to everyone for watching and I will see you all next time. Peace out.